Hey guys, with update 4.0 for Battlefield 2042, we also got a lot of changes to the weapon attachments, and this is also more than I had expected, and that was even mentioned in the patch notes. So I thought I'm gonna do a quick video on all the changes that have been made and how they will affect your weapon handling now. In addition, I will give you some recommendations to the best attachments after the update and how to combine them. The most changes have been made to the barrel attachments to make them more unique, but some of the underbarrel attachments have been improved as well and have totally different stats now. But let's start with the barrel attachments. Before the update, both compensators had the same stats, both muzzle brakes and also both types of suppressors, so it didn't matter if you used the tactical or the Warhawk compensator, for example. This has changed now. The tactical compensator that provided a better horizontal recoil control but on the loss of vertical recoil control now increases the weapon's accuracy but on the loss of recoil control in general. For the Warhawk compensator it's the other way around. Before the update it had the same stats as the tactical compensator and now it increases the general recoil control but on the loss of weapon accuracy. When comparing both compensators to the standard barrel you can clearly see the differences in vertical recoil. What you cannot see in this example is the accuracy, of course, but after testing both attachments for a bit I recognized that using the Warhawk feels strange as the recoil is indeed lower, which makes the weapon a bit more easier to control, but then again it feels like it's harder to precisely hit the target, which can be very frustrating. The standard barrel, however, is somewhere in between, so my choice out of these three is the tactical compensator, cause the increased accuracy is definitely noticeable even though it has a bit more recoil. But there's still two more attachments that have an impact on the recoil, and that's the two muzzle brakes. Before the update, both muzzle brakes decreased the vertical recoil but increased the horizontal recoil. Now, after update 4.0, the champion muzzle brake is the only barrel attachment that has still the same stats as before. So it still reduces vertical recoil but on the loss of horizontal recoil control. For the Orcom muzzle brake it's the other way around now. And that's the same effect that the compensators had before. The Orcom now reduces horizontal recoil but increases vertical recoil. So if you have used a compensator before the update and the weapon felt good for you, the Orcom muzzle brake is what you have to use now. Compared to the standard barrel and to the two compensators, you can clearly see that the muzzle brakes have a much more reduced vertical recoil in general. Even though the Orcom muzzle brake is pretty similar to the Warhawk compensator, the champion muzzle brake has the best vertical recoil control out of all the barrel attachments. So if you have massive problems to control your weapon's up-down movement when shooting, try the champion muzzle brake. If that's not a problem for you, I would recommend to go with the tactical compensator instead for best accuracy. For the suppressors, the stats differ a bit more now, and also the description was finally changed to make it more clear what kind of effect each suppressor has. For the light suppressors like Wrapped or 6KU, the description now includes that the minimap stealth only works on long range but not on close range. So in an area of 20 meters around you, every enemy can still see you on the minimap while shooting when you have a light suppressor equipped. For the heavy suppressors, the description now includes minimap stealth on all ranges to make more clear that you won't get spotted at all on the minimap when firing the weapon. The stats also differ now between the versions of suppressors, so for the two light suppressors, 6KU and Wrapped, you have the choice between lower firepower or lower range. With the 6KU, the firepower is reduced by 5 points but not the range, while for the Wrapped suppressor, the range is lowered by 5 points but not the firepower. Before the update, both suppressors had a reduced firepower but no loss in range. The two sidearm suppressors, GAR-54 and Spook Y, have the same stats as the 6KU now, so they both still have the reduction in firepower. For the two heavy suppressors, the stats have also changed and have a mix of firepower and range reduction now. So for the PB Heavy, the firepower is reduced by 5 points and the range by 8 points. While for the Type 4 Heavy, it's the other way around and the range is only reduced by 5 points, but the firepower is reduced by 8 points. So for the light suppressors, I would recommend to go with the Wrapped suppressor now, since the loss of firepower is always more annoying than a loss in range. Same for the heavy suppressors. Here I would go with the PB Heavy instead of the Type 4 because of the lower loss in firepower. And if your weapon has both light and heavy suppressors, I would always recommend to go with the heavy one instead of the light one, just because of the full minimap stealth on all ranges. What was also added to the description of the heavy suppressors is that if you use them alongside subsonic rounds, there will be hit indicator stealth as well. Unfortunately, I couldn't find out what that means. From the description, I thought this means your enemies won't see the direction of the hit indicators when they get shot, so they can't pin down where you are. But I tried it out and this is not the case. So for this point, I'm also a bit confused what the effect is. If any one of you has found that out, please tell us in the comments below, that would be very helpful. For the other two barrel attachments, shortened and extended barrel, the changes are not as significant. They still have the same descriptions as before, so the shortened barrel reduces projectile velocity but has a higher rate of fire, while the extended barrel has a higher projectile velocity but lowers the rate of fire. The only thing that has changed here is that one of the stats was removed. Before the update, the shortened barrel lowered the accuracy in addition to the lower range and better handling, but now the accuracy reduction was removed. Same for the extended barrel. Before it had an increased accuracy in addition to the increased range and lower handling. Here the accuracy stat was also removed. But besides this, these two attachments have not changed much, and if you want to go for maximum fire rate on close range, I would still recommend the shortened barrel, while I still think the extended barrel is great for long range shots. Now let's head over to the underbarrel attachments that were also slightly changed, but not as much as the barrel attachments. The most adjustments here have been made to the four grips, because they were all pretty similar before the update. The BCG Lite and the Rattlesnake grip both had the same stats and description before. Both increased the accuracy of the weapon when moving, but decreased the accuracy when stationary. Now the BCG Lite has a better accuracy when aimed down sights, while it has a lower accuracy when hip firing. For the Rattlesnake grip, it's the other way around. It increases the hipfire accuracy, but reduces the accuracy when aimed down sights. So here it's really hard to give a recommendation, as this depends on your preferred playstyle and the weapon's general handling. But I will also do updated setup videos for most weapons with loadout suggestions for different playstyles, so be sure to come back to the channel if you're interested in this. For the LWG grip and the Cobra grip, the stats haven't changed that much, but they also had the same stats before the update and now they differ a little bit. The LWG grip increases your accuracy when moving, but lowers the accuracy when stationary, while for the Cobra grip it's the other way around. It increases the accuracy when stationary, but decreases it when moving. Before the update, both grips had the stats of the Cobra grip, so if you used the LWG grip and it felt good for you, then you have to use the Cobra grip now. An underbarrel attachment that was also slightly adjusted is the laser sight. Before the update, it had an accuracy increase of 10 points, while it is only 5 points now, but at least they set the laser to always on by default now, so you don't have to turn it on every time you respawn or get revived. All other underbarrel attachments, as well as most of the magazines and optics, are still the same. The only thing that has changed here is that the subsonic rounds don't have a loss in firepower anymore, and that a range stat was added for most of the optics to underline their zoom rate. And that's it for today. I hope this video helps you to understand all the attachment changes of update 4.0, and if it did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Until then, thanks for watching. I'm the Catwoman and you are awesome.